Hi, I'm Andrew. Grace is my sister.
I'm Grace. Andrew's my brother.
We're broadcasting to you from District 14, the podcasting district.
Why is it called that, you ask?
Because 14 years ago, a movie was released which was based on a best-selling YA book written by Suzanne Collins.
We saw it on opening weekend and exited the theaters, forever changed.
That movie was called The Hunger Games.
It's difficult to articulate what a phenomenon the Hunger Games books and films became during the 2010s unless you were actually there.
And that's where we come in.
Every episode will cover one chapter of the Hunger Games.
And share secrets the Capitol doesn't want you to know about.
We'll also share secrets that you might not want to know about.
So this is your last chance to avoid spoilers or potentially upsetting content.
The series centers around the death of miners, and it doesn't get much better from there.
So, without further ado...
Happy Hunger Games!
And may the odds be ever in your favor. Section 0. Apology video. We're very excited to start the show, but first, I would like to address something that may or may not have become a full-blown controversy by the time this episode is released.
In the previously on District 14 segment of our pilot episode, Andrew did the math wrong on how many tributes had actually died in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I did. My metric was that I should multiply 23 times 73 because 23 tributes died per game, and 73 games were held. The figure I came up with and relayed to the audience was 1,679.
However, my brother had neglected to account for the twists of the second quarter qual in his calculations, which had a total of 47 tribute deaths.
Now might be a good time to disclose that my degree is in English, not applied mathematics. Sorry, dudes.
To make up for my co-host's unintentional spreading of fictional misinformation, here's the actual death count.
Okay, so adding an additional 24 to 1,679, you get 1,703 total tribute deaths. Holy shnikes, that's a lot of dead kids. Grace, do you have anything meaningful to contribute to the discussion before we return to our regularly scheduled program?
I'm Grace, and you're watching the Disney Channel. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Anyways.
Section 1, previously on District 14. So... you know how Katniss is now District 12's female tribute? Leave it in.
As if her day couldn't get any worse. District 12's male tribute is PETA, dude.
Who she has a bit of history with. Ooh la la.
You know how it goes. The girl nearly starves to death, and then the boy tosses bread at her like a football.
The girl is grateful, but doesn't know how to express it. Then the boy watches her go home every day.
Every day.
Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme.
Daddy and the bread. Or, alternately, soccer and the girl.
All this and more non-stop coverage of Hunger Games LXXIV coming to you live and burping from District 14.
District 14 is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Section 2, reruns. Well, we just got our first YouTube comments from Larissa Falcon 09 and Polymoth. Both encourage us to keep up the good work. Thank you so much, dudes. I hope you aren't bots.
So true.
Oh, and also, our Spotify playlist is currently up as well if you prefer to listen to us on the go.
How convenient.
Yes, exactly. It's very convenient.
I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah. We can't get enough of the sound of our own voices, can't we?
Exactly.
Yeah, if you combine the first 2 episodes released, it's like the length of the first movie.
Exactly. So you might as well listen to that instead of watching the movie.
Yeah, or do that and then watch the movie.
Sounds good.
Whatever order works for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, at this point where our chapter begins, the Hunger Games have been going on for so long that the Peacemakers know to keep a watchful eye and a firm hand on the tributes so they won't bolt. Like we saw Woodbine Chance do in Sunrise on the Reaping. It didn't work out very well for him.
Nope.
Haymitch, not a great day for him. Either one of those times.
Nope.
Yep. Okay, and Katniss and PETA are escorting at the Justice Building to say their final goodbyes.
Something funny about this is Katniss is talking about how she's put into this room. It's basically the goodbye room where she says goodbye to her family. And like, Suzanne Collins so many times expresses the huge difference between wealth and poverty in this, because she talks about how this is the richest place she's ever been in, and the fact that there's a velvet couch and chairs. And Katniss says, I know velvet because my mom has a dress with a collar made of the stuff. I just feel like it's such an interesting way of phrasing it. Like, oh, I know what velvet is. My mom happens to be high class enough that she has a tiny little scrap of it on her little dress. So I think that's an interesting way to continually show the poverty that she's in and the difference between what she has access to versus people in the capital.
Yeah, if Katniss was in a was doing a class project at her school and she brought up velvet out of nowhere, they'd say, Katniss, what's velvet? And she's like, oh, it's like this fuzzy stuff. My mom has a little bit on her dress. Anyway, back to the coal project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do mention later in this chapter that almost everything they talk about in school is related to coal, except for when they talk about capital propaganda.
Yeah.
But most of the time it goes back to coal.
Yeah, I wonder, is Katniss a good student?
It's a good question. It sounds like she does her best to not really get noticed in school, especially because she doesn't want folks to know that her family is starving.
Yeah. And she doesn't seem like she's planning to work on the coal mines later on, so it's not like she needs to learn this for her job, because she's already bringing home the bacon, literally, with her hunting.
It would be pretty traumatic for her to work in the coal mines after the way her dad passed away.
Yeah, you see in the series, a lot of characters have specific phobias. Like, Wiress, we learn in Sunrise on the Reaping, is afraid of the dark. And then when Joanna develops hydrophobia in Mockingjay, and Katniss is obviously claustrophobia.
Yes.
Yeah, there are, like, several things that make her afraid, but claustrophobia is the one constant, because she's like, I just imagine my dad during the mine cave-in, and I don't like being behind the fence, I don't like being in the arena, I just want to be free.
Exactly.
Yeah, and something that I was also wondering is like, how do you sign up to say goodbye if you or a kid gets called up during the reaping?
Well, what's interesting too is, we'll talk about this later, but Peeta's dad comes to say goodbye to Katniss and then just kind of like sits there in silence with her for a little bit.
Yes.
Which is interesting, that he, first of all, he goes ahead and he gives her a gift, he gives her a cookie, and then they just kind of sit there. Yeah. So I think that's kind of interesting. I wonder if, like, you're only allowed to have a certain amount of people see you. I can imagine that if you're a career, that you probably would have a ton of people who want to see you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's just whoever's interested.
Yeah. Probably say, damn it, Cato, I wanted this to be my year. Why'd you volunteer for me, you jerk?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe there's a sign-up sheet or something. So here's what I'm thinking. Before the games, you can have the different families or tributes say, this is who I want to visit me. But Katniss did not know that Otho would visit her. So I'm thinking that maybe it happens after the reaping, where like people can line up to say goodbye and they cut it off at a certain amount.
That sounds correct.
Yeah, because she has she has 4 separate visitations. The first was with her family, and then the 3 are with other well-wishers. And a particularly cruel aspect of the Hunger Games is that the families of the tributes are not allowed to accompany their own children to the capital. God, that sounds lonely.
Yep.
The only time a tribute would go to the capital is if their dad was a victor, like Beebe's son Ampert was.
Yep.
Or maybe even one of the peacekeepers, but I'm not sure that they would let a peacekeeper from the districts go and accompany them. I think it'd probably be Capitol Guard.
Well, they even mentioned this. She's like, I've never been in a car before. I've never been on a train before. Like, you are not allowed to travel outside your district. It's just not allowed. You will get in trouble for doing that unless there's a specific task that someone has asked you to do and is assigned to you.
The mayor asked me for gas station sushi, and we're all out of it in District 3. Can we go to 4, please?
Exactly.
Well, wait. In my theoretical scenario, they would ask for gas station sushi at District 4, where they have the best seafood and the freshest seafood. Our mayor really has the specific hang-up about gas station sushi. I don't need the primo stuff, okay? I want just gas station sushi for my weird mayor.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. And Yeah, and for the tributes who have to go to the capital, the only adults who are accompanying them to a part of the country to the capital, which they've never been to before, are their escorts, their mentors, their prep team, and their stylists. Any of whom could literally or metaphorically stab them in the back at any given moment because you somehow displeased them.
And I'll also just mention that this is unfortunately an opportunity for children to be abused and mistreated
Yes.
because they are away from all safe adults, new people, new place. They people they don't trust, and the people also know they're most likely going to die. And so later in the series, you hear about horrible things happening to Finnick after his games. He essentially is sexually abused by a number of people in the capital, which is really, really awful. But they're putting the children into this very dangerous position where they're surrounded by adults who they don't know, who are also trying to make them look attractive.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, later on, Candace says is to say that Glimmer's going for a sexy angle, but she's a kid.
Yeah,
She's like in the upper like teens, but still a kid. She would have to be considered a child by the capital standards because a 19-year-old cannot go into the games.
It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, and Katniss is sort of judgy of Glimmer for taking on this strategy, and I feel like maybe Katniss is short-sighted in that way.
I think a lot of people when they're teenagers can be judgy in that way.
Oh yeah, it's very high school.
It's very high school.
You can't sit with us.
Exactly. But yeah, so she's in the room with Velvet, which she knows what that is.
Yeah.
And
for a second, I thought it was a character name.
Yeah.
They all have such fun names.
They do. They have very unique names. So she's sitting there. She's like, okay, people are going to come and say goodbye to me. And she's like, I cannot cry. I will not cry. Because if I cry, then later when I go to the train station, people will see videos and photos of me with a like puffy nose and puffy eyes, and I can't have that. So she is like, I will not let myself cry. So that is her goal.
Yeah, and then and Katniss's family comes to visit her first, and Katniss is like, I'm not in as bad a position of other people because me and Gale have an agreement to provide for each other's family if one of us is reaped.
Yep.
Which is a good thing, but then she really is very economical about delegating responsibility.
Yep, she goes one by one, like exactly how they will survive without her. So she's like, you should do this with your goat. You should do this and that. She's like, I specifically am not going to tell her to hunt because in the past, that's gone really poorly. And then she, like, grabs her mom.
Yeah.
And says, listen to me. Are you listening to me? She nods, alarmed by my intensity. She must know what's coming. You can't leave again, I say.
I know, I won't. I couldn't help it.
Well, you have to help it this time. You can't clock out and leave Prim on her own. There's no me now to keep you both alive. It doesn't matter what happens, whatever you see on the screen, you'll have to promise me you'll fight through it. My voice has risen to a shout. It is all in the anger, all the fear I felt at her abandonment.
I was ill. I could have treated myself if I had the medicine I have now.
So then she doesn't actually say this, but she kind of takes that and says, well, maybe, yes, she was sick, but you can't actually afford to be sick in this scenario. Like, this will result in you dying.
Yeah, like sick in this way especially.
Exactly. And so in relation to the medicine, she says, then take it and take care of her. And then Prim jumps in to save the day and says, I'll be fine, but you have to take care of yourself as well. You're fast and brave. Maybe you can win. Immediately, Katniss says, I can't win. She does not believe that she can. She's like, it's not happening.
And she says that there's going to be boys who are 2 to 3 times my size, girls who know 20 ways to kill you with a knife. Oh, and there are people like me, too. People to weed out before the real fun begins.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, another classic gloomy Katniss line. Katniss is severely underrating herself.
Yes.
I mean, she is very good with a bow and arrow, and she's handy with a knife. And she knows how to look through herbs to see which ones are poisonous and which ones aren't. Mm-hmm. She is in pretty good shape, can climb trees, and And she has all these other great attributes which would allow her to survive out on her own if she didn't have her mother and Prim. She could just like walk through the fence at any time and just walk like over to like the cabin in the woods or whatever and just carve out a good life there.
It's true, but she doesn't see herself in that way. She sees herself just like as a plain normal girl who's trapped by her circumstances. Like she doesn't see positive traits in herself really. The main thing she sees in herself is being able to provide for others and keep others alive, but she doesn't really prioritize keeping herself alive. The reason why she keeps herself alive is for her family. It's not for herself at this point.
Yeah.
And so to be on her own, she's kind of like, I need to survive in order to take care of my family. But it's less about self preservation and more about preserving herself for her family.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a pessimist, and something that interesting that I learned is that optimists and pessimists, there isn't really a big contrast between longer life expectancies because optimists are able to find more purpose in life, but pessimists are more cautious.
That's true.
And Katniss has invited the idea into her head of, okay, if I get reaped, I already have a plan in place for what my family should do in the meantime, and I already have safety protocols. And she had just never considered the idea that Prim would get reaped at all, so her volunteering here was an act of pure impulse.
Yep.
Once again, showing that Katniss is a lot more well prepared than a lot of other kids. Like, let's see, what would be a district that would be like bad or not conducive for the games? I'm trying to think. Like, there's the power plant district, District 5. Like, it's great that you can learn how to operate the control rods and everything, but how will that help you when somebody's barreling down at you with a machete?
Right. It only works if you know how to harness it.
Yeah. Or, yeah, there's a lot of other districts where I feel like kids would be expected to work in the field and stuff like that. We see Thresh from District 11 is very strong.
Yes.
And a lot of people are like, ooh, he's a real contender. But District 12 usually doesn't have a lot of good contenders because it's coal, coal, coal. The entire curriculum is coal.
It is.
Yeah, and coal, you can learn how to light a fire and maybe would be better about going underground. But I kind of struggle to see how that would help you in a death match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really the tributes from the past have succeeded because they were able to be charismatic. Like, Haymitch and Lucy Gray were particularly charismatic in their interviews, and that's why people threw money at them.
True.
I would also like to go back to when Asterid says, I was ill. I could have treated myself if I had the medicine I have now. What do you think she means by that?
I mean, so they specifically talk about how there aren't really doctors, there's like healers, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's some sort of like homeopathic thing that she's taking that either has what's the word for that thing when you are taking something? Placebo effect.
A placebo effect.
So maybe it's placebo effect, or maybe they like found a medical way to make Prozac out of plants or something, or coal. Who knows?
Out of coal.
Probably coal. But she specifically is saying, like, if that happened again, it would be okay. I have medicine I can take.
Yeah. Is it weed?
Is it weed?
I mean, look. Katniss is going out into the forest. Shouldn't she, if she sees a little devil's lettuce, is she's going to let it pass by?
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's why people in District 12 are so hungry. They all have the munchies from Katniss's weed.
Oh my god. Katniss's weed is crazy.
Yeah. You can have Katniss's weed and you'll get a free swamp potato with it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah, and she would probably call her weed Rabbit's Foot. Because she also sells rabbit's feet.
Oh my god.
Yeah, oh my god. She could sell, like, bucket of rabbit legs, like KFC. Ugh. Katniss fried chicken.
No!
Just call it chicken. What? Like, food is food, Grace.
They do say that.
Yeah, Kentucky fried chicken. Wink.
They're eating the rabbits.
They're eating the dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything but the chicken, funnily enough. You have to go District 10 for that. Katniss fried chicken. We should, if we ever make merch, we should sell t-shirts that says, "It's Katniss fried chicken."
No one will understand what it means except for our loyal fans.
Yes. Exactly. That's why people will buy it.
True.
I have a few other ideas. Like, for Haymitch, it could be, like, Big Rascal Allergy. And it could be him doing the thumbs up like in the movie.
Yes, that's so good.
Yeah, or Effie saying that is mahogany and pointing to a tree.
Mm-hmm. That is mahogany.
Yeah, and Peeta, of course, he have like this big cake that he was showing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back to the cake a little later. I have a big fan theory about that.
He'll show his cake.
Yes, they'll show his cake.
Yeah, they'll show Peeta's cake.
Yes. Katniss will accidentally step on his cake in the woods while he's caked himself in mud and dirt.
Yep.
And he'll say, ouch! And Katniss will be like, what? I'm definitely one of your...
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, and let's see, getting back to the meeting, and she's saying, that it's not in her nature to go down with a fight even when the odds are insurmountable. Then we'd be as rich as Haymitch. I don't care for which. I just want you to go home. You will try, won't you? Really, really try? Asked Prim. Katniss's mom's like, hey, I care if we're rich. I would love to not do this apothecary stuff for a living anymore.
Yep.
Get some of that cat kush.
Oh my god. That cat kush.
Yes. And then the peacekeepers are at the door, signaling our time is up, and we're all hugging each other. Heart hurts, and all I'm saying is, I love you both. That's a really important distinction, is that Katniss calls her mom out and reads her to filth, but she's also like, I still care about you.
Yep.
It's a very good distillation of Katniss's efficiency when it comes to difficult situations.
Mm-hmm.
Where she is thrown, but she also has a plan.
Yep.
Where she's like, hey, I'm the captain now. I'm the captain now, and you can't freak out. Just have some of the cat kush, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
And she buries her head in the velvet pillows. It was because she's just like freaking out. She isn't crying just yet, but she's just having this moment, I imagine, where she's grabbing the pillow and going in it.
And then someone else walks in. Randomly, it's Peeta's dad.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, wrong room.
Wrong room. Oh, that'd be so good. But it turns out he is actually coming to see her, and she's like, that's weird. I'm gonna have to try to kill her son eventually. Or his son, why would I do that? But anyways, so they know each other a little bit. I guess he's just like 2-for-1 visit. Might as well visit both of them. So Katniss very specifically says that when she trades with him in the market, she waits to trade for him when his witch of a wife isn't around, because he's so much nicer.
Yeah. Which
makes me really sad for Peeta and Peeta's family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see this contrast about how both Peeta and Katniss take after their fathers, and then they have very fraught relationships with their mothers. Mm-hmm. I think that Asterid, while she was irresponsible for not treating herself, I feel like ultimately she's a good person.
Right.
Whereas, versus Popeye, I can't really say the same. There might be something of her book comes out that makes you feel a little more bad for her, but she's among the less sympathetic characters in the series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you kind of wonder, why are they even together? Mm-hmm. Or is it something like, hey, we would just be able to make more money together, we're together and have kids, or is it like an arranged marriage?
I'm also curious what marriage ceremonies are like in the districts.
Yeah. Because
they don't really have access to resources. It seems like it's more likely that it would be like a more so like religious ceremony or something like that, like less of a big party. Because how do you throw a big party if you have no food? Yeah.
In the third book, they go a little bit into the wedding traditions, like very briefly, and they say that you go to the office, they give you like a wedding certificate, and then afterwards you go celebrate with your family. So that's unusual for us in North America now, because usually we have the marriage and then the big kiss and everybody and the saying of the vows.
Right.
Versus it sounds like, oh boy, we're going to go to the office and get our certificate signed.
True. Very true.
Yeah. Can we get a picture with a guy who notarized it?
Some people do that. I've seen some people I know on Instagram. They just go to the office like in wedding outfits. It's kind of cool. But it's not what you traditionally think of with wedding culture in the United States.
That is very funny. Yeah, because it's something that you usually consider to be slow and not that interesting.
True. Jazzing it up by showing up to places in a wedding dress.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she's talking to Peeta's dad, and he gives her cookies, and she says, "These are a luxury we can never afford." So
I'm sorry, that was meant for Peeta.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. Wrong kid. Wrong. So she says, thank you. And they literally just kind of sit there. Like, they exchange a couple of words. So they sit in silence until a peacekeeper is like, okay, I'm ending this awkward interaction.
Yeah, the peacekeeper at this point is the good guy. He's trying to save Katniss. I mentioned in the first episode that Katniss sometimes sits in the same room with Madge while not talking to each other, and she enjoys that. But she knows Madge, so it's not as awkward. Versus she barely knows Otho, and he's just sort of sitting there like,
Yep.
Did you see that part where Hamish fell out stage? It was funny. Yeah, I guess it was funny.
Yeah.
And this is already a guy who's not known to be a man of very many words. And Katniss herself is very blunt in her delivery. So it's just like, gosh, it's just so uncomfortable, you have to imagine. And she's trying to deal with all her feelings. She's like, can you please leave? Yeah. So I can process the fact that I will never see my sister and mom again. Mm-hmm. And he's just not picking up on these signals at all.
He's just sitting there in silence, twiddling his thumbs.
Yeah, and he's like, you know what? I think I'll have one of those cookies.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? You're not the only one who's suffering today. My son's about to go.
Exactly.
No, and they make some more small talk. Like, I had some of your bread in the morning. My friend Gale, such a comedian, put an arrow in it.
Yeah.
And then he gave you a squirrel fruit, and then he nods as if remembering the squirrel. He's like, yes, I did have a squirrel today.
Yes.
Yeah, my wife hates that I eat them because it's common meat, but gosh, I just love them. Yeah, they taste so nutty.
Squirrel FC.
Yes, Squirrel FC.
Mm-hmm. And so when the peacekeeper decides to end that interaction, ushers him out, last thing he says is, I'll keep an eye on the little girl. Make sure she's eating. And this gives Katniss some relief. But it's funny, she says, people deal with me, but they're genuinely fond of Prim. Maybe there will be enough fondness to keep her alive. And I think this is interesting because, again, I think she undersells herself a lot. Like, she's like, I'm just some schmuck. People just deal with me. They don't really like me. Like, no one likes me or cares, but Prim is so good and great. People like her and care about her and want to take care of her. And so it's interesting that she feels that way about herself. Like, I'm just some girl. People don't really care to interact with me.
Yeah, but we saw that wasn't really the case because at the Ask the District 12 to give the tribute, like Katniss applause, they refused and instead threw up the salute instead. So I would say that she's perceived a lot better than she internalizes.
Totally.
Like, I wouldn't say that she's the most sociable person, but she's traded with a lot of people and might help them through rough times. And they have good memories of her because they also have good memories of her father.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Katniss, again, is an autistic baddie, and she just is like, wait, people actually like me?
She's like,
that's nice.
Interesting. Anyways, let's sit in silence more.
Yeah, not with Peeta's dad, though. I've had enough of that for a lifetime.
Exactly.
She's like, oh my god, if I marry Peeta, then I might have to have so many conversations where it's just the two of us, and it just sort of goes nowhere. Help me!
Help me!
Yeah, and da-da-da. And then we have... Oh, and then I was wondering, does Peeta know that Katniss was visited by his dad?
I don't think they ever bring it up, but it's interesting. I highly doubt that Katniss's family visited Peeta.
Yeah. Oops, wrong room.
Oops, wrong room. Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that's my headcanon. Yeah. Is that afterwards, the Millark family was going off and then they walked right into Peeta talking with his mom and dad and be like, oops, wrong room.
Wrong room.
Yeah, and then and Otho was like, "Oh, you want some cookies?"
Yeah, it was just too awkward for him to leave. He already walked in, and he's like, "Oh, she's expecting guests. Hi.
Yes. Yeah.
Here's some cookies."
Yeah, I had a crush on your mom back in the day. You know.
Yeah.
That would be even more awkward.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I don't know the full story of what happened with Otho and Asterid. Maybe they were dating at one point. God, that'd be weird to imagine that their kids would get together one day.
Ugh, that would be weird.
Yeah, I kind of interpret it as he had feelings for her, but he never vocalized them. Mm-hmm. Or at that point, she's just like, yeah, that's nice and all, but that guy can sing.
Yeah.
Listen to those pipes, and he gets me cat kush. Hey, I have a great idea about what I'm going to name our first child. It works. Cat kush works for a boy and a girl.
Cat Kush. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then, like, hey, Burdick's like, no, how about we name her after the swamp potato? That is somehow better.
That's such a normal name in this
Yes.
world.
Yes, Katniss, yeah, but it'll rhyme with cat piss never clean.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The fans
but-
will love it.
Yes, our fans will love it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and anyway, let's move on from Otho. God, I hope he's visited Pina.
I know.
Yeah, has he visited Pina? I really hope so.
She says he must have just gone from saying goodbye to his son,
Yeah,
but he could have not.
yeah,
He could have not.
yeah. I kind of doubt that Pape would visit her son without her husband.
Yeah, I think that's very unlikely. I also think that it's possible that Peta's siblings would visit, Peta specifically, but we just don't hear about that.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Like, that's gotta be God, even more awkward, but not as funny. Like, his brother could have volunteered, who was slightly older, but didn't. And I wouldn't expect that of my brother.
Yeah,
It's just a lot to ask of anybody.
totally.
Wait, did Prim ever say thank you to Katniss for doing that?
I don't think she does. She doesn't ever say that during this, at least.
Yeah, I can see her walking back and saying, "Hey, Mom, did I say thank you to Katniss for saving my life?" I don't think you did.
I don't think you did. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, that's why you should mind your manners, Prim.
Exactly.
You never know when will be the last time you can say thank you to someone.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that maybe a few of Peta's friends might have visited him along with his family, but I don't think he got as many visitors as Katniss unless he had a lot of school friends.
Possibly.
There's a girl called Deli Cartwright that's referenced later who was close to Peta when they were both very young, so I think she could have visited.
True.
And then, you know what? She tried to visit Katniss afterward because she's such a happy person, but she went to the wrong room.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oops, this is the mayor's room. Hey, Mr. Mayor, bye."
Hi.
And then, oh no, the train's going. Oh shoot, I want to say goodbye to Katniss.
Mhm.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Catch her next time.
Yeah, catch her next time. Which she does.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, that's what makes this chapter very ironic, is that I call it the parting, and everybody's like, oh my god, this is the last time I see these people. And they see them all again.
Yep. Surprise.
Yep. Right room this time.
Exactly.
Okay. You know what? That's my headcanon. District 12 is notoriously bad at figuring out architecture, because that's not their job.
Yep. The job is cold.
Yeah, if they see a door, they're going to open it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then we get to the character of Madge, who was not in the movies.
Mm-mm.
Yep, and Madge just sort of busts in, going very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Madge walks straight to me. She's not weepy or evasive. Instead, there's an urgency about her tone that surprises me. They'll let you wear one thing from your district in the arena. One thing to remind you of home. Will you wear this? She holds out the circular gold pin that was on her dress earlier. I hadn't paid much attention to it before, but now I see it's a small burn flight. Your pin? I say. Wearing a token from my district is about the last thing on my mind. Here, I'll put it on your dress, all right? Madge doesn't wait for an answer. She just leans and fixes the bird in my dress. Promise you'll wear it into the arena, Katniss? She says. Promise? Yes, I say. Hey, cookies, a pin. I'm getting all kinds of gifts today, boy howdy. Madge gives me one more. A kiss on the cheek?
Mm-hmm.
Then she's gone and left thinking that maybe Madge really has been my friend all along. I have so many questions.
Yeah. Pause.
Yeah, let's pause. Let's put a pin in it.
Let's put a pin in it,
Okay,
literally.
so, Madge has inherited this pin from her late aunt who died.
Yep.
And she's like, I'm going to give it to this girl who, up until now, hasn't even been certain that we're friends.
Yep.
And the backstory of the pin was that it was created for her aunt, and she didn't really like it because she had a thing against Mockingjay, so it like basically sat in her room for the longest time collecting dust until she died. And then my guess is that merrily Madge's mom just sort of kept it as a keepsake, even though Maisley didn't see it as valuable. And then it went on to her, and then she's like, okay, I gotta give it to this girl.
Yep.
And you'll love it. It's just like it would belong to my aunt who died in the arena, just like you might.
Just like you
Right,
might.
come on, put it on the front. It's really super.
Can you remind the viewers or the listeners who gave her the pin in the movies?
Greasy Say gave it to her because Katniss was looking for a token that she could give Prim.
Yep.
Which I think is an interesting choice to the films because it shows that Katniss can be spontaneous, and since she Prim is one of the only people she's genuinely fond of, she wants to give her a little something that she can wear for luck.
Yep.
Real lucky, that thing.
I know, it's a curse, really.
Yeah, it's a curse. And it becomes a curse for the capital later on, so it evens out.
True.
And I reiterate, why would Greasy say just have it and not sell it if she is trying to pass off dog beef stew as beef? Is she...
She's a plot device.
Yes, is she a part owner in Katniss Fried Rabbit?
She's just a plot device.
Yeah, okay.
They're like, we can use that.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, just keep it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I want, like, yeah, oh, I sold all my fake gold pins. Fake gold? Grandma! That was actual gold! Fudgesicle!
Yes.
Yeah, and Madge clearly considers Katniss to be her friend.
Yep.
I wonder why that is. Maybe because, she's a seam girl that doesn't treat her as like, oh, you're just from the rich part of town, you're a snob or whatever. Or, like, this is the mayor's daughter, and as we've seen in this Battle of Songbirds of Snakes, the mayor's daughter can be, like, a real pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And maybe people don't want to do anything around Madge or don't want to associate themselves with her because she could just, like, talk to her dad, even though she and her dad don't really act like that. And then a kiss on the cheek. How do you interpret that?
Well, the realistic depiction is that her friend is probably going to die, and she's showing a sign of love. But the gay person in me is saying that is a little lesbian kiss.
Yes.
But I know that's probably not what Suzanne meant by it.
Yes. Unless they reveal it in a later book.
I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I think it's
and
very
you know what?
unlikely.
You know what? I'm just realizing now, Madge puts herself around Katniss, who isn't very talkative. She likes Katniss.
She likes Katniss.
Yeah, she just, like, hopes that Katniss will notice her and say something. She's like, it's just kind of nice being around you. I mean, you got your braids like that, and you can bring home the bacon, literally, and, gosh, you're just so pretty.
Exactly.
Yeah, and later on, it's shown that they become even better friends in Catching Fire when Katniss survives. And which means that when Gale was watching it and he was like, oh my god, Peeta and Katniss are kissing again, gross. I could see Madge being like, you and me both, buddy.
Yeah.
I do not see what she sees in that boy.
Nope.
Even if he has all that cake.
Even with all that cake.
Yeah, and Gale could be like, hey, maybe we could date to make her jealous. And she's like, you're not my type.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, because I'm a coal miner? No, you're not my type, Gale.
Exactly.
Yeah. I really want to see more of Madge in, like, a future book or something.
Yeah, I feel like, well, they definitely don't explore her character at all in the movies. She isn't in the movies. Yeah,
and she's unlikely to be in the future movie unless they add a bunch of stuff. I really feel like Madge emphasizes how Katniss sees herself. She's like, oh yeah, me and Madge are cool, but I'm not sure we're even friends. But Madge is clearly like, Katniss is awesome. She's so pretty and tough, and I just want a part of me to be with her in the arena. Whew, I'm getting butterflies just thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, what would their relationship name be? Underness?
Oh god,
no.
There's so many bad options.
Cadge?
I guess.
Madness?
March Madness.
March Madness. Yeah. They could, maybe they're just like the Mockingjays.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, or the silent but deadly friends.
Like a fart?
No, like love.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we'll find something. Right now, I'm going to settle on Undercat. Undercat?
Undercat, I could see that.
Let's do Undercat for now. And then, finally, Katniss's other love interest, Gale, is here. Whoops, wrong room.
Wrong room, yeah.
Yeah, Madge was the only one who was locked in saying, I am going to see Katniss no matter what. Nothing can keep me from my girl. And Gale's like, whoops, wrong room.
Yeah.
What would he and Peeta have to talk about, I wonder?
Nothing.
Yeah, he'd be like, what Gale would do is open the door. Pete would say, hi, and then he would close the door.
You know what Gale would do is he would walk in with his little bread joke where there's a arrow through bread and be like, I have one last joke for you, buddy. Here's an arrow through bread. And Peeta would go, joking about bread is not funny.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Why would you ruin my bread?
Yeah, like, I don't know where your arrow's been. That could put germs on it. And like, we already have holes in the bread. You didn't need to put another one in. Or he just wouldn't get it at all. He's like, wait, why is that funny?
Yeah, I don't understand the humor.
You get it? We hunted the bread. But bread isn't alive. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's important to me that you know that.
Yeah, it's important to me that you know that.
Okay, but she says, Gale is here, and maybe there's nothing romantic between us, but when he opens his arms, I don't hesitate to go into them. I think it's funny. I do think Katniss is a little bit of an unreliable narrator. Because she keeps being like, people say we should date, but we would never do that. Like, there's nothing romantic, but I jump into his arms. Like, I do think that there's something there. A little bit, even if she's not admitting it.
I like to think that Madge goes back, like, oh, I forgot my purse. And then she's like,
no.
No.
And then she...
Just when we need another straight couple.
Exactly. If you know, you know. And then she even says, his body is familiar to me.
Whoa.
The way it moves, the smell of wood smoke, even the sound of his heart beating. I know the quiet moments on the hunt. But this is the first time I really feel it, lean and hard-muscled against my own. Whoa.
That's steamy.
Steamy. And then he goes straight into strategy. He's like, okay, sure, you can probably get a knife, but you should really look for like a bow and arrow. And she's like, they usually don't have those. And he's like, just make your own. And then she goes, that's actually hard.
Yeah, and she goes into her memories of the previous Hunger Games that she would have witnessed in her lifetime.
Yes.
I'm just assuming these are ones that you saw play out live. Because while they do show highlights from the other games, I'm just assuming that these are the ones that Katniss would have not known the result of beforehand.
Yeah.
And so that's why there was extra tension. Yeah. If you're ever watching a reality TV show and you know who's winning it, then there is less tension in a lot of ways because you're like, oh, I already know how it ends.
True.
I think there is something interesting knowing how it ends and seeing how it got there, but it's not as exciting as if you're watching a live finale.
Totally.
Yeah, and she brings up several games that she remembers. Like, there is a game where there's only maces that tributes had to bludgeon one another to death with. So somebody watched that amazing Digital Circus episode where they all got and said, yes, this, but maces. Can we do that? Yeah, we have a lot of maces hanging around. Like laying around from other games. Let's just put all the maces throughout all the games. People can have different maces. All the maces will be designed for different tributes and have their names on it.
Hunger Games, they all get maces.
Exactly. Yeah, I wonder if that was a popular year of the Hunger Games. Where we're like, it's a little tacky.
It's kind of gimmicky.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do to bash somebody's head in. Mm-hmm. And then there's another year where they're tossed into a landscape of nothing but boulders and sand and scruffy bushes. Texas. There are parts of the Hunger Games that are in Texas.
Yes.
Or maybe Arizona or Las Vegas. Maybe they're like, wait, why are all the tributes hanging out in the desert? There's a casino arena right there.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah, like, come on, guys, go, do it. Go there.
Mm-hmm.
There. And she said, I particularly hated that year.
Yeah.
Many contestants were bitten by venomous snakes or went insane from thirst.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's almost always some wood. Since the year, half of them die of cold. Not much entertainment on that. Mm-hmm. And here we get our first example of what might be considered to be a bad Hunger Games from an entertainment perspective. We spent one Hunger Games watching the players freeze to death at night. You could hardly see them because they were just huddled in balls and had no wood for fires or torches or anything. Alaska? It was considered very anticlimactic in the capital, all those quiet, bloodless deaths. Since then, there's usually been wood to make fire. Mm-hmm. Grace, maybe you could add some examples of what would be some great examples of good reality TV versus bad reality TV.
So I would say it's interesting because the more drama and fighting and tension that there is, it's considered like a more dramatic or a better season of a reality TV show. Like, if it's boring, it's bad. You don't want it to be boring. And so because of that, there's a lot of different reality shows where people are put in really rough situations because they just want to see how they react. And sometimes it's done in a way that is ethical. A lot of times it is done in a way that's not ethical. Like, you look at, there was this, I don't know if it was just a lawsuit or like people wrote this article about Love is Blind and how they basically were like sleep depriving the people and treating them badly and giving them too much alcohol, and like how it was a very unhealthy community on set because of that. But it made what many would call very good reality TV, because people were strung out, exhausted, drunk, making bad decisions, and so they made decisions that were entertaining. So that's the thing that relates to the Hunger Games, is it's boring if everyone's just lying there and dying. What they want to see in the Capitol is they want to see the bloodshed, the drama, the betrayals, like basically all the things that you would see in a quote-unquote good reality TV show. So it's interesting, and it kind of makes you think about the ethics of reality TV in general and people being watched in that way. Now, I personally am a huge fan of watching reality TV, but I also think it's important to be critical about the medium just because the people behind it are real people.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to just see how it plays out. And so one of my favorite seasons of any reality show ever was Are You the One? Season 8. And that one is crazy. It's basically an MTV dating show where they find you scientifically, quote unquote, your perfect match. But in all the other seasons, it would be a certain amount of guys and a certain amount of women. But this season was monumental because all of the contestants were sexually fluid, which means that anyone could be matched with anybody. And it wasn't just men and women. It was also folks who were non-binary and like different types of queer. And so that was one of my favorite reality TV show seasons ever.
Yeah, Grace showed it to me, and I loved it. I saw Grace watching it, and my first impression of it was Kai saying, "I don't understand why everybody's mad at me," which was Kai's character the entire season.
Yes, it was messy. Like, yes. So messy.
Yeah.
To the point where you're like, is it okay that they're putting all these people in this scenario where they're feeling so horrible?
Yes. Most of that was because of Noor. Noor was a menace.
You're
just a fuckboy, Kai! Ah! And then punched a balloon. And when I say punch a balloon, I mean they punched party balloons because they were so angry.
Noor, Kai, like, it was chaotic. And it wouldn't have been as entertaining if it was a bunch of people in a lot of healthy relationships.
Yes.
Like, you are watching it because of the bisexual chaos. You are not watching it because you want to see people fall in love.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because in shows like Big Brother, there have been more marriages and children born from Big Brother than any season combined, and like staying together, than any season combined of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Bachelor in Paradise, and Golden Bachelor.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's because on The Bachelor you get to see people more from the day to day.
Exactly, and there's less pressure to like win somebody as a prize.
Yeah.
Like, I have won The Bachelor because I'm dating The Bachelor and we're going to get married. There's a lot of pressure there. And then you're in this scenario where you aren't necessarily being true to yourself because you're surrounded by people who are also going for the same person. But in different environments, there's less pressure in that way, which makes it so it may be easier to form a genuine connection.
Yeah. And that's a good transition to another reality TV season that I feel like was a bit of a bust. The season 22 of The American Big Brother, one of our family's favorite reality TV shows that we all like to watch together. They just announced the cast and everything, but that's another story. Mm-hmm. Season 22 came out during the pandemic, which was already a big strike. Now, they were poised for success because they had an all-star season. That's a great way to get ratings, like to get all-stars. All-star seasons, I feel, can be either really fun or feel unnecessary. And I felt like this was unnecessary.
Yep.
I'm generally of the opinion that All-Star seasons should be saved for spin-offs. Like RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars is up into the tens of seasons.
Yes.
And that's very successful. But that could still make for good drama. That could still make for interesting dynamics of seeing fan favorites mingle with each other. Yep. The problem was that it was too predictable because all the people in the main alliance were winning pretty much everything. which would be fine if they endear themselves to the audience, but many members were extremely problematic with their views on autism or race.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
That's not to say there weren't any good moments. There was the scene where David was pretending to cry after he got a reward. That was fun. And it is the season where Julie Chen compares Danielle to Busy Phillips, which was so out of left field, our entire family was in stitches.
I think about it all the time.
And I don't even know who Busy Phillips is. A part of me wonders if I should look up who she is, or if I should just leave it a mystery because it might be funnier.
I know who Busy Phillips is, but it's okay that Andrew doesn't.
Yes.
Anyways, long tangent to basically say, hearing the way that she talks about the different series of Hunger Games and hearing how, say, the Capitol had this perspective that season was kind of a bust. Not even season. Like, that year for the Hunger Games was kind of a bust because the dying wasn't entertaining. I just think it's interesting comparing that to our real world with reality TV, where a good season of that could mirror a lot of things within a season of a good Hunger Games season.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking that about the victors who go into the Quarter Quell. Some of them are very old, but would still probably have some fans because they could be considered like a classic.
Yep.
Like, Mags is very well liked in the Capitol and in the districts because she actually helps people outside of her own district.
Yep.
And she's like one of the winners from way back in the day in the 11th games. Or, like, Beatty found a really smart way to defeat people. And Finnick is probably one of the most, if not the most popular victors of all time.
Yep.
Or Hammett. She was in the most dangerous Hunger Games of all time and came out ahead. And at the time was really popular. He's kind of fallen off since then, but still, he has that laurel.
He does.
And I was wondering, like, if there was a year that Katniss, like, I didn't think of as badly because someone that she liked won.
I think it's interesting. She specifically mentions, like, certain games.
Well, they are seasons because they come out in the summer season, and then they call it Hunger Games 74 or Hunger Games 62.
Yeah, I guess that's a similar structure. But it's interesting because I think the point that she's trying to make is, like, the Capitol is in the wrong for noting one season as more entertaining or less entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, she says, like, this one was particularly terrible, but she isn't necessarily saying, like, this was the best one.
Yeah, I don't think she would say that, but I was wondering if there would be contestants or what victors that she admired.
Right.
Because when we get into the second one, she definitely knows a lot of the victors' names, but he doesn't really seem to be like, oh, I don't want to fight them. I've heard about them and they're really sweet. Or I really liked how they took care of the people in their alliance, for instance.
Totally.
It's always through the view of, how is this person dangerous to me?
Yep.
And even before she didn't know that, she had that attack with the victors. She goes on later to talk about Joanna Mason, and it's clearly, even though she from this point is like, I would probably never meet her, I still recognize that she's dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, I would be kind of interested to see, like, how the victors are perceived in their districts or by other districts.
True.
I had this fan theory way back in the day where Clove was like, dude, I am so into Joanna. Like, they both fit similar archetypes in the story, although Clove is an antagonist, where they both really like throwing sharp, pointy objects at Katniss.
Yes.
And that would be really interesting because from District 2, she's like, my favorite is from District 7, which is one of the poorer districts, but I just idolize Joanna. And I was thinking maybe she could try to model herself after her in the arena. And then if she actually, like, met Joanna, if she was mentoring that year, she could say, like, I look up to you so much. And then how would Joanna respond to that?
You don't know.
Yeah, maybe we can get to that a little later on during the interviews. We have spent so much time, and we are only a couple pages in.
Yeah, we got lots to say.
Yeah, anyway, big takeaways that Katniss is like, I don't want to kill people. And then, and Gale says, hey, how different can it be to kill humans versus animals?
He essentially is like, you kill all the time. It's not going to be hard. Interesting, Gale.
Yes, interesting. This seems like the seeds of a character arc that will come to fruition as later stories go on.
Exactly.
And then Katniss is like, the awful thing is that if I forget other people, it will be no different at all. And Katniss to her credit throughout the series, always feels bad about killing people.
Yes.
She occasionally is like, I didn't like this person or they were cruel. Well, but she still doesn't like that she had to do it.
Yep.
She's not a sadistic person in that way.
She is not.
Yeah, you see the difference between Katniss and Gale, and that is, I think, the most important difference between the two of them.
Yep.
Because Gale, as the war goes on, he's like, I'm ready to kill like a bunch of people who aren't even soldiers.
Yep.
It's for the greater good of defeating the capital. And he, I would describe as slightly more of an extrovert, and then Katniss is more of an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a scene in the movie where he's just stomping through the forest, being like, "Hey, Katniss!" It ruins her hunting when she sees a doe.
Yep.
Oh, and he seems kind of like a strong silent type, but he's slightly more extroverted than Katniss. Hence his like prop comedy.
Yeah, it's prop comedy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's his next career.
Yeah. Oh, and here we get another big question where Cass is going, "Don't let them starve!" And Gale says, "I won't. You know I won't." Katniss, remember right? What was he going to say?
Mm-hmm. They get interrupted before he can say what she should remember.
Yeah, I think he was going to say, "Remember I love you." That's the most obvious to me through Occam's razor.
I could see that.
Yeah, or remember I put an arrow in that bread? That was really funny, right? Just think about that if you get sad.
It's hilarious. And so she is yanked away from him, doesn't know what he's going to say, and then she goes in a car for the first time.
Yep.
She's barely even ridden in a wagon, she says. She says he usually just
barely even ridden in a wagon. How long is barely?
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, one time I rode in like a minecart, but then the miners told me to knock it off.
And so she's like, you know what? It's actually a good thing I'm not crying. Because the station is swarming with reporters with their insect-like cameras trained directly on my face. Oof.
Yeah, and later in the third book, she describes Capitol cameramen as the insects.
Yep.
So maybe this is the standard procedure where they wear like full body suits and like have the cameras either shoulder mounted or carrying them.
Yep.
Yeah, and here's another autistic Katniss line. I've had a lot of practice of wiping my face clean of emotions, and I do this now.
Mm-hmm.
Female people on the spectrum often do masking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like autistic men do this as well, but a lot of women are conditioned to be more expressive with their face. So, this is what Katniss is doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peeta, on the other hand, has obviously been crying, and interestingly enough, does not seem to be trying to cover it up. Let's talk about this. Mm-hmm. I'm not upset that Peeta is crying. He is in every right to cry. I'm more curious, why is he crying?
I think he's not thinking of it from a strategic standpoint at all at this point. I think he's just feeling his feelings versus Katniss from the beginning is like, okay, how can I survive so I can get back to my family?
Yeah.
Peeta is just feeling everything. He's saying goodbye to his dad and whoever else visits. Like, he has been crying. Nobody volunteered as tribute for him.
Madge didn't kiss him.
And also, Katniss is going into the games with him, and he has a crush on her.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, he had so many people open the door and say, "Sorry, wrong room."
Yeah.
But finally he was doing all right until, like, the third person said, "Oops, wrong room."
And so she
Dad gave my cookies away. Where'd they go?
Where are my cookies?
Where's the pizza?
Where's the pizza?
Where's the pizza cookie?
Yeah. Where's the pizookie?
Yeah, and also at this point, his mom said, "Oh boy, we're about to finally have a winner this year. That girl's a survivor, she is." So on top of that, he's like, the last thing my mom said was extremely cruel to me and was like making light of the fact that I am going to die.
Horrible. And so what's interesting is Katniss immediately is like, him crying must be a strategy. I think it's really funny how she tries to find reason behind people's actions and emotions. Yeah. Like, she's like, Madge kissed me. I guess we're friends. He cried. This must be a strategy for the games.
Yeah. Madge and Peeta both gave me a Valentine, and I guess they both think I'm a really good friend.
Exactly. And so she's like, but wait, this won't work because he's hella muscular. Yeah. Like, he's muscular. How can he cry? Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then she goes, of course I've never been on a train. So she's never been in a car, never been in a train, barely even been on a wagon. Yeah. She says,
Yeah, what would she have ridden otherwise? I don't think that they own a bicycle. Otherwise, they would have mentioned that.
Or a skateboard.
Or a skateboard.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure Katniss would be into a skateboard because she's like, I want my feet to be on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, who would be good skateboarding in the district? Maybe Gale?
He does have the personality.
Yes.
Mhm.
He has the personality. He's the most likely to be sponsored by an energy drink.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you also get what I was talking about earlier with pretending to be scared, you know, to make it look like you're no competition at all and then come out fighting. It worked out very well for Joanna Mason from District 7 a few years back. She seemed like such a sniveling, cowardly fool that no one bothered with her until there were only about a handful of tributes left. It turned out she could kill viciously.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty clever the way she played it. This makes me wonder how much of the series was mapped out from the beginning, because when I read this for the first time, I had only seen the first movie, and I was like, oh yeah, there's this, like, person with a full name, huh. And then I saw the trailers for Catching Fire, and it's like, wait, Joanna's there? Like, hey, she's playing a big role there. That's very interesting that they seem to have this backstory carved out already.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Suzanne Collins said she had the ideas for a trilogy planned out from the beginning, and if you put it all together, it holds up pretty well.
True.
So I really like the way she sprinkles, this is a Victor that we know about who's been given a full name. Keep them in the back of your mind for later.
Exactly.
And District 7 itself doesn't play a big role in the story at all. Mm-hmm. They get killed off in the bloodbath, and that's basically it. I'm not even sure if Katniss mentions the tributes from District 7.
Yeah.
And other than saying, oh, they're dead.
They're dead.
Yeah.
And so she's on the train. She talks a little bit how they'll get to the capital in less than a day because it's super fast. And then they talk a little bit about the history of District 12 and how it's in Appalachia. Well, that's what it used to be called. And then talks about how there's a history of coal mining there. Their miners have to dig so deep because people have been going in the same mines for decades, probably hundreds of years. Like, that's kind of what she's communicating. And then she says, somehow it all comes back to coal at school. So aside from basic reading and math, most of their instruction is coal related.
I could have used one of those math classes, Grace.
I know.
Yeah. And then I did the coal group project and magically put my name on top, even though I did the least amount of work. She must be a really good lab partner.
Yes. And so she talks a little bit about what they do in school. I think it'd be very interesting at some point to do a deep dive on what their school environment actually is like, because what do you mean everything's based on coal? And then sometimes you talk about Pan Am history.
Yeah, I guess you would get some history and science out of it. Wait, do they have like writing assignments based around coal? How many prompts can you do about coal?
You're gonna write some poems, I guess.
Write some poems.
And so then she's on the tribute train. She says it's even fancier being on the train. And she talks about how she has her own private bathroom with hot and cold running water. She says at home, if you want hot water, you have to boil it. Those are the conditions she's in. She's looking at clothes. Effie says she can wear it. She also says, I've never had a shower before. So she takes a shower.
Yep.
So, stinky. Just kidding.
Well, come on, she is stinky.
She is stinky.
I mean, by capital standards, she'd be stinky, and she was out in the woods all day hunting.
That's true. And so she describes a shower.
And she had cold sweats from having to try to keep a conversation with Peeta's dad.
True. So she describes the shower as being like the summer rain, only warmer. She gets dressed, and then she looks at that little gold pin. And then we go a little bit into the history of what the bird is, which is a mockingjay.
Yep. And
so this is kind of interesting. The mockingjay, during the rebellion, the capital made a bunch of these, what are called mutations, or mutts. And there are these birds that are a combination of essentially, in the beginning, there's the jabberjay. Mm-hmm. And the jabberjay is able to kind of record conversations and give them back. So they are in a scenario, they hear a conversation happening, and then they record it. And they bring it back to the capital. But the thing is, the people in the districts found out about it, so they started telling it lies. Right? So when they're telling it lies, this kind of becomes a joke because the Jabberjays are now saying incorrect information.
What kind of information do you think they sent to them? Yeah. No name should end with anus.
Yeah, exactly.
None.
They're like, how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you insult our anusy families?
Me and all of my sons with anus in their name are offended.
Yes.
So basically, the Jabberjays did this. It was kind of a joke because it failed. And then Mockingbirds mated with the Jabberjays and became the Mockingjays. And the Mockingjays can do bird whistles and human melodies. So then she talks about how her dad really likes Mockingjays and how he liked to sing. He was really talented at it. And she, looking at that bird, it makes her think about her dad and says, it's like having a piece of my father with me, protecting me. So she puts the pin on her shirt. She's going to bring it into the arena. And then Effie comes to grab her for dinner.
Yeah. Madge was such a good friend to give me this.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd also like to highlight an early line where she's talking about how, in her school, the history of Panem. It was mostly a bunch of blather about what we owe the capital. I know there must be more than they're telling us, an actual account of what happened during the rebellion. But I don't spend too much time thinking about it. Whatever the truth is, I don't see how it'll help me get food on my table.
Yep.
So, Katniss learned about the Mockingjays, I presume, because her dad told her. It was just common knowledge in the districts.
Yep.
So, they can look at the Mockingjay and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
And then the Mockingjays go back,
Exactly. And so they are there. They're eating dinner with Effie. They're like, "Where's Haymitch?" But she's a little bit relieved that he's not there because he's a drunk mess. And so they are eating food. They're stuffing their faces essentially because they have been so malnourished. And then Effie says something that rubs Katniss the wrong way. She says, "At least you two have decent manners. The pair last year ate everything with their hands like a couple of savages. It completely upset my digestion." And Katniss is pissed. She's like, "They were starving. I know who she's talking about. They were starving." And so she, even though she knows how to eat properly, and she even says that, she eats the rest of her meal with her hands.
Yeah.
Just be like, "Screw you, Effie."
Yeah, I know those kids. They left me and Madge with a group project.
Exactly. And so they eat all that food. They're sitting, they have full stomachs for one of the first times in their lives. And then they go basically into the movie room and they're watching a recap of all of the reapings across Panem. So they're able to see all of the folks.
So a little bit of a trivia is that the original script for the first Hunger Games movie, which Suzanne Collins helped write, actually showed a bit from the last year's Hunger Games. So apparently, Caesar really liked that year. I'm not sure if he's glazing the game makers or he genuinely believes that. Maybe he's like, that was a really good year for me because I had blood red hair. Like, I really liked that look. Caesar's the interviewer, and he every year changes his hair color. Otherwise, he won't be seen as a trendsetter, I suppose.
Exactly.
And that year was held in Abandoned City, and District 2 ended up winning against someone with District 10, who he ended up dispatching with a brick.
Yep.
And even though it's trimmed down in the movie to where Katniss is only watching a clip of it, you get a few very important things. You see how the Capitol views the games fondly years after they're finished, and although District 2 wins, so a career tribute did win, the person that he kills is from District 10. So people from the outlying districts can also make a deep run into the games.
Yep.
It's like just something that is great that a movie can do that the book wasn't really able to do as much. Because if Katniss outlined everything that happened in the last Hunger Games, there wouldn't be a narrative point to it unless they were establishing something for later on.
Exactly.
Yeah, so just a really cool thing that they didn't have to put in there, but they did because they like us. And Peta is a baker's son, and then their mother taught Prim and her how to eat properly. So they both have this moment of, you know what, we're going to eat messy. Moment of solidarity. And then they go watch the reapings. And not all the tributes have names. So me and Grace, mostly me, have... Yeah, she should really be in charge of the math, and I should really be in charge of the writing. I've come up with a couple of names for them, including Jojo Siwa. We will what?
Just go on.
Yes, we'll get to it when we get to it. And I'm planning on revealing all the names in the next episode. But some of them don't have last names, so I add last names as well. So instead of just Rue, it's RuPaul.
That's insane.
RuPaul Drag Race, start your engines.
engine.
Grace, I have a really dark joke you might hate me for.
I'm afraid.
Okay, what's the difference between Logan Paul and Rue?
I don't know.
He filmed a dead body. She was a dead body.
Oh, I hate that.
I'm a sicko. Be sure to let me know how you feel about that in the comments.
I hate that one.
It's just a prank, bro.
It's just a prank, bro.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. And if there's one person who I wouldn't mind seeing going to the Hunger Games, it would be the Paul brothers.
No! Don't say that, Andrew. The whole thing is no one should go to the Hunger Games.
But, come on, they're adults.
Nobody!
Are you sure that of all the humans in the world, and you had to choose two of them to go in that were brothers, who would you pick?
Two of them that were brothers? That's so specific.
Yeah, but that would be one of the first ones that comes to mind because of all the dumb things they've done and all the bad things they've done.
It would be still hard for me to decide.
They poisoned people with lunch whatevers with poison cheese that was rotten.
Maybe I would choose, like, brother serial killers or something.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But even then, the whole point of the series is that it's wrong for anyone to be killed for people's entertainment. And you know what's interesting is the Paul brothers, specifically Logan Paul, filmed a dead body for his viewers' entertainment.
Yeah.
Oof.
He thought that was funny.
He thought it was, like
edgy or whatever.
Yeah, it was horrible. And then even, what's his name? Jake Paul did that whole thing where he had the fight with Mike Tyson, which is really sad because Mike Tyson is old and not as strong at this point, so he basically just beat up an old man on TV. Well, actually, live show on Netflix, so that was kind of rough.
Yeah, Mike Tyson isn't that great of a guy either. You know what? Maybe we should put all those TikTok, YouTube boxers into the arena and let's have it. Not kill each other, but it would be kind of fun.
You know what? I don't know much about Mike Tyson, but I'm afraid to know more.
This is Mike Tyson!
Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah, okay, so anyway, only a few stand out to Katniss.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a monstrous boy, Cato, who lunges forward to volunteer for District 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then a fox-faced girl with sleek red hair from District 5. She's going to be called Foxface, and that's essentially what her name is, even though it's just a nickname that Katniss came up with. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that was like her... How crazy would it be if that was her actual name and Katniss had just guessed it?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I bet her first name is Vixen or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then a boy with a crippled foot from District 10, whose name Drove. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really come out that much, only every once in a while. It's more to emphasize how cruel the capital is by forcing somebody with a disability to go into the games.
Yep.
And then, most hauntingly, a 12-year-old girl from District 11. Grace, I'm so confused about what Rue's supposed to look like in the movies. She has dark brown skin and eyes, but other than that, she's very much like Prim in size and demeanor. Oh my god, Grace, I'm so confused. Why did they cast a black girl to play a black girl?
So, here's some context, if you don't know the context. Basically, when the movies came out, there were people upset and protesting that this character, who is described as being black, was cast as a black actress.
Yeah.
There was people upset about it, posting on Twitter that they're upset, and they're like, everyone's so woke these days. Like, why are they having a black person in a movie? It was horrible. Especially because, specifically in this book, she is described as having dark brown skin and eyes.
Yeah, and book fans were angry when I'm like, you didn't read the book! This was in the original edition, and it's in all the subsequent editions. If you want a more in-depth video discussing this topic, I cannot recommend Black Nerd Comedy's video, all caps, rants, Hunger Games, racist, no blacks allowed! Not only is it very funny and insightful, but it offers the perspective of someone who's only heard about the Hunger Games secondhand.
And just as a side note, I would recommend any of Black Nerd Comedy's videos, but especially that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he ends it by saying, black! Yeah. Nerd rants. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a comment from that video I want to highlight that he didn't discuss much, but I'm going to break it down. You know it's from Twitter because it's racist and demonstrates poor spelling. Enjoy this dramatic reading. Since S-E-N-S-E. When has Rue been an N-word? That one I won't be spelling out. Wow, Clifford Kygar, you have the ability to sense when someone is of African descent? That's uncanny. Tell me, do you have the ability to sense that you would be swiftly eliminated from an elementary school spelling bee that you attempted to spell S-I-N-C-E the way you did? I think even the District 12 school system would beat him in a spelling bee, Grace.
It's just, like, obviously, it's racist, it's ignorant, it's horrible, and people feel empowered to post things like this online. But it's not right, and it's not okay, and I'm really glad that a lot of folks spoke out about it at the time when this was happening, especially fans of the book.
Yeah, This really showed how toxic our fandom can be, but also how great it can be. Yeah, and those people I wouldn't mind as much seeing go into the arena. I mean, if I had to make a choice. Nice. And they were attempting to White Knight and Keyboard Warrior in the early 2010s for a character that is fictional whose purity they are attempting to defend, but she is not as respected or remembered as the actress who played her. Yeah, Amanda Stenberg is cool, and they actually met up with Jack Quaid in real life. He's like, hey, it's cool, let's take a picture together. Remember when you killed me?
Oh, that's funny.
Memories. Yeah, and I think that some of the confusion might be from, oh, she reminds me of Prim. Someone can't remind you of another person who's of a different race?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So, essentially, long story short, some people online are bozos and share their racist beliefs that are not only racist, but also do not accurately reflect the world they're in and the reality that we exist in. And
Yes.
also, they didn't read the book.
Yeah.
They say they read the book, they maybe skimmed it.
They skimmed it.
And so, then she watches the part of the reaping where District 12 was. So she sees herself, she sees Prim, and then she also sees, embarrassingly, that Haymitch falls off the stage. And Effie is annoyed. Effie says, your mentor has a lot to learn about presentation, a lot about televised behavior.
Yeah, which is wild because he's the star of a reality TV show.
He is.
And the audience loved him back in the day.
They did.
But now he's more like a washed-up child star, if anything.
Totally. But it's funny, PETA ends up laughing and be like, duh, he was drunk. He's drunk every year. Yeah. And then Katniss adds to it, it's like, every day. And they're like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, they're like, hey, yeah, you don't understand how funny this is to us district folk. We don't get a lot of comedy around here, but when we do, it's a knee slapper.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, we see Haymitch fall over all the time. Probably. And we see that later on, especially, that PETA doesn't think as much about how his actions might be interpreted later on. Like when Katniss asks, why'd you throw the bread? And he's like, well, why? I just saw you were hungry.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really have an ulterior motive for it.
Totally.
And so when he sees Haymitch falling off the stage, which is funny.
Yes.
He just laughs because he thinks it's funny. And Katniss thinks it's funny too, although I think she could have pieced together that, yeah, this doesn't make our district look great. It makes it look like Haymitch just got really, really lucky and hasn't done anything good since then. And Effie, I am curious to get your thoughts on this. What do you make of her, like chastising them for laughing at him?
I think she's trying to bring them back to reality. She's like, y'all are gonna lose anyways, but like, this man is supposed to be training you. He's your lifeline to, like, someone who's actually experienced the games. He won. He's your representative, and you're just making fun of him. You're just laughing. Like, how sad is it that you're going to be, like, trying to lead yourself into victory, and you're just making fun of the guy who's going to be helping you because he's, like, so drunk and pathetic.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways you can interpret this. It could be like, if you guys don't win, I'm not going to get bumped up to a better district, or she's genuinely trying to help them in this moment and being like, you have to communicate with this man. You can't just make him out to be a big joke.
Totally.
I also wonder if, because we know in Sunrise and the Reaping, she's actually one of the few people you could probably consider a friend because she's connected to the Hunger Games. And it makes you kind of wonder if she's like, come on, Haymitch, I know you can do better.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she's like, if she was a part of her that she's like annoyed him, is like, come on, you gotta get yourself together. These kids are depending on you, and he's like, come on, they're not gonna win anyway. I don't actually have to try.
Totally. And so he walks into the room as if on cue and goes, I miss supper, and then vomits everywhere and falls into his vomit.
So he falls again.
He falls again. He falls into his vomit. And then Effie says, so laugh away. She hops her pointy shoes around the pool of vomit and flees the room.
She's just like, I've had enough, I'm done.
Exactly.
One last thing I'd like to bring up before we close. In the movie, Effie says, oh, I'll bet he's in the bar car. First of all, great name.
Yeah,
the capital isn't very good at naming things. It names all the district's numbers, and the capital is the capital, but that is a very good name. If they came up with it, not just Effie. And I was wondering about why are they providing alcohol to Haymitch?
Well, if you don't give alcohol to an alcoholic, they can die from alcohol withdrawal.
That's true, but he's not exactly going through serious withdrawal. I don't think at this point he would go through... That's a good point. I was thinking about if he took the alcohol and if they would not want him to have it because it would impair his judgment. Right before the games, or if they were purposely giving it to Haymitch so he's all super sauced and isn't really like making his district look good. Yeah, and I don't think the capital enforced like, yo, Haymitch, you've got to stop drinking. You have to look presentable for the games. I think they would just leave him to his own devices.
They also kind of want him to look bad because the way that he won the games was subversive and not how he was supposed to win.
Yeah, they want to make it look like he was drugged during the games or something. Yeah. I'm wondering if Effie has say in what goes into the train because she's the escort.
I think that's possible.
Yeah, I think that if Effie was in charge of providing refreshments, she would have been like, listen, no alcohol for Haymitch. He is a sober man from now on. You can have like a little bit, but I have the keys to that, okay? And if Haymitch wants to get it, he has to go down my dress to get it, which he has done before.
He would.
Yeah, he would. Like, remember earlier when he tried to give me that big old hug? It was sweet and all, but it was embarrassing. It was high-key embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I have to put him up with every year!
Exactly.
And I hope he gets better, and he never does! Friggin' rascal.
That rascal.
Yeah. Yeah, I know in the movies they kind of push Haymitch and Effie as a couple, and I like their comedic chemistry and find the idea of them being friends interesting, but I don't think that Haymitch would go for her. And Haymitch is too rascally for Effie to really date, I think.
Totally.
I get the idea that they're like total opposites, but I don't know, romantically, I don't know.
Yeah. So basically, we end this chapter with Effie being pissed at Peeta and Katniss.
And Haymitch. So, pretty much all the important people in the train.
Yep. And he has just barfed and fallen in his barf.
Yes. Face first. Everybody do the flop.
Exactly. Everyone's pissed at each other. And that is when the chapter ends.
Yeah, you can practically hear the laugh track. Heck, that's Haymitch.
Exactly.
Section 3. Next time on District 14.
Well, that's about it for Chapter 3, The Parting. Which chapter are we going to read next?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. The next chapter is going to be called Chapter 4, The Train.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Until next time, I'm Andrew.
I'm Grace.
Happy Hunger Games!
And may the odds be ever in your favor.